First Radio.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to Word First Radio, the podcast brought to you by Word First Ministries. I am your host, Jacob O'Neill, and as always, I'm joined by my friend Cameron.
What's up?
Well, as you can tell from my voice, I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah.
So here's the deal, right? That's what oh my gosh, I just said what every politician says when they're about to tell something like awful or terrible.
So
here's the deal.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I've heard. That was it was an SNL thing.
It feels like it.
So, so we haven't released something in a few weeks, and there's a very good reason why. It's because I don't know about you and your family, but I have been sick I have been sick since October 18th.
Yeah.
Which is a long time to be sick. I actually didn't count the days. I probably should have.
Yeah.
But I despite what I sound like, I'm feeling a lot better.
That's good.
It was really rough. I went to the doctor a few times, and I remember I went after like 2 weeks because I was like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. There's something wrong.
Yeah.
I go to the doctor and, I'm like, yeah, I've been sick for I think 14 days. And she's like, yeah, that's a long time to be sick. I know.
Yeah, I know. Imagine that.
Is there something you could do to help me?
Yeah.
So,
I was sick the week before that.
Yeah.
And so we didn't record anything. And
Right.
then you've been sick ever since. And then I got well and then got sick again. I guess it's been almost a week for me too.
Yeah.
And this time it hasn't been really bad. Like my voice is mostly back today, which is nice.
Yeah.
But it's been like,
yeah, that must
it's
be
been
nice.
it's been like a not as bad as possible sickness, but for kind of a long time. And after I just got well again, it's
right. And now Motown is sick. Actually,
Yeah.
she's sick at home.
So far, knock on wood, the other people in my house have not been sick yet.
Right.
And I hope they don't become that way. So yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
me
it's
too.
whatever.
What can you do? I mean, that's life.
And complain about it. That's
yeah.
that's been my remedy.
I mean, yeah, I don't really know what's going on. I had a really, really terrible cough. Again, well, now
I hate
2
that.
weeks ago.
Having a cough's the worst thing.
Oh, it was awful. Well, I mean, I couldn't sleep at all. And so after going to the doctor, I was like, hey, listen, nothing I've tried has been able to get me to sleep. I've taken Dayquil, I've drinking tea, I've did Vicks Vapor Rub,
Yes, Mexican wife.
That's right. That's right. You must be married to a Latin woman.
That's right. It's okay. We can take that out in post.
Okay, good.
I mean, I'm
hope
not
so.
going to, but
Oh, you're not going to. You just wanted to tell me that we could.
I wanted
Yeah.
to let you know that we could, but I'll leave it in there for you.
So anyways, I was just like, listen, nothing I can do can work. Can you give me the good stuff? And he was like, I'll give you the good stuff. And he writes me a prescription, and it's been great. And I haven't had it in a week. But anyways, you didn't tune in to hear just how sick we've been. You tuned in to hear the stuff we've been doing. So we haven't done an update episode in a while.
Yeah.
But we've still been very busy, still been doing lots of stuff. And that's all we're going to do in this episode is just talk about the stuff that we've done for however long that takes.
Yeah.
So I guess one of the things is I want to ask you about your living situation.
So, okay, that sounds very... I don't know. That sounds very heavy. My living situation.
That's right. We have to have.
The situation is that I'm still living.
That's right. No, but I mean about your residence permits.
Yeah.
So
I thought you meant about our house.
No.
Well, I'll tell you about all those things.
Yeah, please.
So our living situation. So the kids are all permanent residents now. Whitney and I are temporary residents on the basis of Whitney's work permit. So she's teaching full time in a school, and she has a work permit that'll go at least to the end of the year. Certainly, we'll be able to renew that. I am here now as instead of a skilled worker as a family unification or whatever.
As a stay-at-home dad.
Stay-at-home dad. Yeah. But what's great is the details are boring, but I can get any job I want. So I'm looking for work right now, which is a new thing I'm in this strange situation where I've got a lot of education experience kind of in one dimension, but I'm not looking for that kind of work, right?
Sure.
So I'm leading our house church, so I'm not trying to be a pastor in another church. But that's where at least the last sort of 10 years of my experience and then all of my education is kind of oriented that way.
Right.
So now I'm looking for other kind of work. Whatever, won't bore you with that. So living situation is the girls are permanent residents. I will be one soon. I'm going to be applying very soon to be a permanent resident myself.
Yeah.
Whitney will be able to apply in a few months because of certain requirements. But we expect by, before her work permit runs out, we expect that we'll all be permanent residents, which is very nice because after 2 more years, the kids can become citizens and have dual citizenship, which is, having 2 passports is a really great thing.
Yeah,
and I think
cool
2
flex.
years after that, Whitney and I could do the same thing. So that's all looking very good. As far as our other housing situation, we have to move. We have to be out by May 1st. So our landlords who are renting our apartment from, they are renting to us while they have been in Brazil.
Yeah.
They've been in Brazil for 3 years. We expected to have our home for 1 year, maybe 2, possibly 3. And it'll have been 3.5. So it's been an amazing blessing. But the sort of bitter part of that amazing blessing is we love where we live. We love our neighbors and our neighborhood and where all the girls go to school and kindergarten. And it's just and like our lives we've kind of oriented our lives to that being our home, being sort of the hub of where things happen. And that's been very nice. And so it's going to be hard to move. But the month of April, we'll be moving. Nobody's listing apartments or anything yet so we don't know where we're moving to. We want to stay as close as possible. We'd like the girls to keep their school. We'd like all the stuff I just said about sort of that being our home, being the hub. Like we'd love for all of that to be static. Right. And then they've been doing construction on our house for months and months. Like a year and a half ago, there was this leak. And the leak got bad. That's been an adventure. It's been a saga.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And it's what things come in sagas. And maybe it's been a trilogy.
A trilogy.
When it gives it like
more
the
like
weight.
a trilogy in like 6 parts or something like that. It's been, anyways, I mean, it was dragged out. And
it's finally done. So it started with a leak, and then the leak didn't get taken care of for a long time. And then they had to fix something upstairs in our neighbor's apartment first, because that was probably the source of the leak. And then so that caused a lot more damage through the rainy season and blah, blah, blah. And so it's been sort of setback after setback. But I think we're done now. I think we're done. So after a year and some change, we kind of have the house more or less back. So now, I mean, we've been moving our stuff like all around the house. Like you have to move it from here so they can fix that. And then they can fix that. Then you got to move it from there to move it. So we've got like boxes and stuff all over the place. It looks like we just moved in.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so now we get to put it all back. And then by the time that's done, it'll be, we'll get to enjoy it a little bit and then have to move again. But that's fine. We're happy to sort of have our home back because it's been tough. We had a month where we had to like cancel everything that was scheduled in our home. And we meet as a community at least 20 times a month. So there's a lot of stuff to say, nope, sorry, we can't do Saturday family breakfast or family brunch for a month because our house is, we've worked around it in the past, but they were doing the floors. And it's like the floors are gone and our house is full of stuff. So
it lined up kind of nicely with me getting the plague. Because they were doing, like you said, they kind of, this construction saga has been going on for, like a year and a half, right? Yeah. And they kind of decided the last 2 weeks that I've been like completely out of commission that, no, we're just going to like, just get it done. Yeah. And that was kind of nice.
Yeah. That like, we're going to need to take all the floors out. It's like, okay, you can take the flooring out. Okay. The flooring guy will call you and arrange a time. Okay. And then 2 days later at 7:00 in the morning, the flooring guy shows up. I'm here. Like, all right. We're very glad that you're here. Can we arrange a time now? Yeah. We're happy that you're here. We'd like to get this done, but we were not expecting that. So it's been a chaotic and unplanned kind of a thing. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, it was so leaving that house, really kind of bittersweet. I mean, it's the first.
Yeah. I don't know how sweet it is. It's just kind of bitter. The sweetness has been in having this wonderful place. We like our landlords a whole lot, and they seem to like us, and so it's been good. It's been a real blessing being able to live.
Well, but I mean, like this, it's been from especially for me in Motown. Like, I mean, this has been like the hub of ministry, like you said. I mean, we still go over like multiple times a week. We're constantly doing things out of your house. It's been, it's like as familiar to us as it is to you guys, probably. And
well, that was one of the goals when we moved here was like never more than 10 minutes walk.
Sure.
Or like a 10-minute walk maybe from your guys' place.
Not
it's
even.
Like, it's super easy to walk or zip up the street to us. And so we hope to be praying about that. We want to find a place that's close. The girls need to stay in their schools. Like they're just thriving there. And there's a house across the street and one house over that was for rent, but it's already been rented out and it was too expensive and too small. So so we'll see. That's the other thing is it's expensive to live here, and some logistical problems need to be solved and coordinated, but we'll get there. It'll be okay. Yeah,
they're not unsolvable.
No,
absolutely,
no, not at all.
Yep. And I mean, for us, so our residence permit situation, right? So I, like the quickest it's ever happened in the history of anything, I guess. I got my residence permit approved like a month after I applied, which was like a pretty huge blessing. And Motown is going to be here on a family visa, like we talked earlier. She has not gotten approved. The last time I talked to UDI, they were like, yeah, I mean, because you're a student, Like, the police can't process it. UDI has to process it. I'm like, okay, well, like, how long does it take to get it processed? The waiting time is a really long time right now. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's the last thing I heard.
Yeah, they can be UDI, the immigration directorate. They're famously, I don't know what the word is. They're not difficult to deal with. Like I've talked to very few people who are like bad or hard to deal with, but just, man, are those some slow rotating wheels.
Yeah, they're always really nice about it. Yeah. But the wheels do definitely rotate like very slowly. But I mean, we're fine. Like we've done everything the right way, and no one is like, we're definitely not getting kicked out anytime soon.
There's no worry. Like she's here on the basis of your study permit, which has been granted. You just need the paperwork to come through, because until it does, you can't travel, and she can't take a full-time job. That's the big deal. Once that paperwork comes in, then she can take a full-time job, which you guys have bills to pay and stuff.
Right. And I mean, we're in a very nice situation, at least comparatively. Like, so we're still living in student housing. That is well, from day one, it was a sacrifice, and it has continued to be so. I mean, it's not, we've kind of gotten used to it, but I mean, living in student housing definitely still is it's still a sacrifice.
It's a dorm room.
It's very cramped. Yeah. And I mean, we're adult humans who, two adult humans. And so, it's very cramped. It's still a lot smaller than the apartment we had in the U.S. and anything like that. So, but anyways, the good thing about that, of course, is that it's much cheaper than most of the apartments around and things like that. And so we're still living there. And so that's nice. That gives us some kind of slack, I guess, or grace. So
there's some pressure off. It's a sure thing. It's inexpensive. And you'll have it next year if you need it for another year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so what we're doing right now is trying to transition back into like normal life, like where we have like our own jobs and pay our own bills. So not being funded missionaries anymore. Yeah. That's definitely going to be an adjustment. It's, I mean, obviously, it's weird saying it that way because that's the light. It's weird saying it like, you're not going to have all your bills paid for by like someone else anymore. Like, that's must be really hard for you. Yeah. But I mean, that's the life we lived while we were in the U.S. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like we've never known that kind of life. It's just not the life that we've had for the last 3 years. And so Motown not being able to get a full-time job until the residence permit comes in, that is kind of a big deal. We have it's a little rough, but we're going to be okay. We're not in any like trouble, like financially or anything like that, or legally or anything like that. Like we're totally fine.
But it'll be nice for those bows to be all tied up.
It would be, it would be really nice to have those bows tied up. And so, I mean, with that, I've been working for a while now, and I work in a restaurant in downtown Oslo. And so that's been really nice transitioning back into that. And now that funding from Word First is starting to go down, I'm picking up more and more hours and things like that. And so it's been an adjustment, but getting back to normal life, that's definitely nothing to complain about. All right. Well, anyways, let's move on kind of from our personal living stuff to more ministry stuff. Yeah, boy. So there's been a couple of things. What are some of I guess I'll ask you just real quick. Yeah. It's not fair because I have the list, I have the cheat sheet, but now I'm just going to ask Cameron, what do you think we should talk about? So what's like a ministry highlight in like the last month that was a blessing for you and a blessing for us to do?
There have been a few things. I mean, so you and I talked about it, and we've talked about it as a church community, sort of how we want to focus on our attention, our efforts, in the near term. Like, what are the things we need to focus on? We want to recruit some people to our community, because right now we're an incomplete body, and we want to integrate better into the Christian work that we've been a part since we've been here. We are consistently part of the Christian work that's been going on, but as we have kind of become a church plant, we're less involved in the life of home church. Right. And home church is Benta, and Benta is the Baptist Union, right? Yeah. Like Benta she is everything, everywhere, all at once.
And she's awesome at it. And we love Benta.
Right, but as we've been in less and less contact with our the mothership with our mother church community, we've been in less contact with stuff that's going on. So we like see what's happening, but haven't been a part of it. So we want to make sure that we reconnect and sort of get hooked back up to the stuff that's going on with the church. And then, also, how can we serve our immediate community, like the neighborhood we live in? How can we go and make friends and be a part of the community there? So that's kind of what we've been talking about this last little while. And the ways that we've started to make some progress there are, like I was in the Jesus Videre conference last weekend, which is a conference that has to do with Jesus Videre. It's hard to translate. It means something like pass Jesus on. Something like that. I mean, give Jesus further.
Yeah.
It means something like pass Jesus on. But the whole idea is how do we equip the younger generation of Christians? They're going to be the leaders in the church. What do we do so that our children and the children in our culture and society are faithful Christian, grow into faithful Christian adults?
I wish that could be the translation.
Yeah.
Because that I mean, in English at least, that explains it much better than give Jesus further.
Yeah.
It makes sense in Norwegian, don't get me wrong, but in English it's hard to translate.
Yeah. So I was a part of that this week, and that was great. It was great to connect. So I hung out with the Baptists a bunch, which was always a good time. Always a good teetotaling, grape juice and time. And it was fantastic. And got to see some folks that I haven't been able to see for a while. So one of our friends, Shell, he's the leader of Un Baptiste.
We had him on the podcast.
Yeah. They've been living abroad for a while and just sort of moved back because this is kind of his event. Yeah. And so it was nice. And I saw Taku and some other people that are really good to reconnect with. And we have participated with NCCC, the Nordic Chinese Christian Church. Is that it? I think
yes, I believe so.
You can put those C's in any order you want.
Right.
The Church of Chinese Christians, whatever.
I always lose count of the C's.
Yeah,
I have to
that's like spelling banana. Banana.
Yes, it's like that, Cameron. Sure.
Well, we participate with them regularly, so I've had the opportunity to teach there several times. They reach out to me from time to time, and that's always a blessing. And I was a speaker for their summer camp one year, and we love them, and they are generous to us to let us participate in ministry. But they've been sort of one of our partners, people that we like doing work with. So we've had the opportunity to work with them a couple of times. They asked you and I to participate in a worship seminar that they were doing, so we got to be part of that workshop.
That was fun. Yeah. You get to dust off the worship leading chops. Like, how do you put together a set? And I'm like, oh, that's a really good question. How do you put together a set? No, I mean, we put together worship sets before many times. And that
it was just so
fun.
great to be invited to share and participate.
Yeah.
And I'm going to cough. And I've gotten to preach there a couple of times, which is really great. I can expect every couple of months to hear from them, hey, we have an open spot in the calendar. Would you like to come teach that weekend? And I'm always so grateful for those messages because I just love them. And they're so generous and kind and really great, like Christian friends that I admire them. And that's very nice. What am I missing? You recently, as recently as yesterday, got to do a thing.
Yes, I got to speak at my seminary's, one of their communion events. And that was kind of wonderful. I was asked by one of my professors if I would come and do it. And he was like, yeah, I mean, your message has to be really short, but I mean, it's just better than nothing.
Yeah.
Moses. Okay. But he was like, yeah, so if you could come do that, that'd be really cool. And I mean, it's kind of nice because like, I don't want to treat like what I'm doing as like just academic stuff just to get like a piece of paper. Like I kind of see the school I'm at, the seminary I'm at as either co-workers or like part of where I'm called to. Yeah. Like I feel like called to be at MF. And I guess, I mean, I don't really know what to say about it besides like there are ideas that have infected like all of the seminaries. Yeah. I'm not definitely not trying to single out like MF or anything like that. I love MF. I love all my experience there has been very good so far, and I've loved it. But you know, like interacting with these ideas and talking to people about them, and like really trying to get into the head of like people who disagree with me, like about very important things. Yeah. Trying to see like, okay, like where are they at? And for the most part, like, I mean, my experience at MF as someone who is definitely more conservative than most of the people I've met, for the most part, my experience has been very good. People are very it feels weird to say accepting of me, but like people who listen to what I have to say and, kind of just really respect it. Like you can tell as I talk to them. So with preaching at a communion event, my mentality, you already know this.
Mm-hmm. I know all about your mentality.
So if I'm going to preach if you ask me to preach at a communion event and you tell me, okay, there's going to be a bunch of Christians there, what am I going to preach on?
You're going to preach on penal substitutionary atonement. Am I close?
Yeah, I'm trying to laugh without coughing. I actually did.
Okay, there we go.
Yes, I am going to preach on penal substitution, but I'm going to preach on the gospel.
Right. That's one of the things I love, like just in my core, I appreciate about you most is when you have the opportunity to talk about important matters. I know that you're going to handle scripture carefully, and I know that you are going to talk about the gospel. You're going to get to it. You're going to handle it well.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of my brand. Like, I mean, I always like focus on that. And and there was one thing I heard. It was actually by Paul Washer, who's great, despite the Calvinism, but he's great. And he said, I was asked to preach at a conference, and they said, okay, you can pick the topic. We just want you to come preach. I'm like, okay, well, who's going to be there? Because a good speaker asks,
who's my audience?
Who's your audience? He's like, well, it's going to be mostly Christians there. So what are you going to preach on? Well, I think I'm going to preach on the gospel. And he's like, well, I just told you that mostly Christians are going to be there. Yeah. And he's like, well, I understand that and I appreciate that. But two things. One, I can't assume that anybody I'm preaching to in a congregation is saved automatically or understands the gospel. And the second thing is that the gospel is not just for non-believers. Yeah. It's for Christians too. Yeah. So Christians need to hear the gospel just as much as non-believers.
And that's something we've been talking about as a congregation.
Yeah.
And how the gospel is the answer. Like it's the answer to the questions.
Right.
And when we're struggling with various things, like, well, how does the gospel answer this thing? So we won't get preachy right now, but
right, exactly.
Thank you for applying what we've been.
Yeah, I mean, it's been it was a great experience. I mean, I loved it. It was great to preach the gospel, and I think the people there really appreciated that, and it was honored. It was an honor to actually share out the communion after washing my hands very thoroughly, and I got to have communion or the Holy Eucharist with wine. Which was
my goodness
is scandalous to my Baptist sensibilities. So, anyways, I guess that's really all there is to say about that. It was a great opportunity, and I was honored to do it.
And I think tonight, as the day we record this, it will have already passed by the time you hear this, so we'll know. But tonight we have our first quiz thing that we're doing, which I'm very excited about. Which is kind of a cultural thing here, the sort of pub quiz. We have this nice restaurant brewery by where we live, and you and Yingve and myself, and I think my neighbor Knut's going to come, which is great, and maybe Bendik. I've got to reach out to Bendik again, and see.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Go get a table and do a quiz, and then when the quiz is done, we'll have our Bible study that we do on Wednesday nights. We'll do that together.
Yeah.
So those are the things we're kind of, what's our focus, our aim, are those three things that we talked about. Like, how do we get into our community well? How do we make friends with and serve the people we live near? How do we find and recruit the rest of the body members so that we're a complete local church?
Yeah, definitely.
And then sort of connect ourselves to the movement of that was the other thing too. I had the opportunity to play guitar in the Hope for Oslo thing that they do. So
I'm so happy about that for you. That's awesome.
I've missed that. I have all this really nice gear, and I was telling Whitney, I was like, I've been playing guitar at church at least 5 times a week since I was 15.
Sure.
And since we got here, my perspective was, was that I didn't need to take any of those opportunities for myself. I wanted to give those to you guys. Like, I'm the old guy. I've had my thing. If when we land in Norway and the people need musicians, I'll give that to the young guys because it's important for me to do that for you. Or you understand what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's been great. I still get asked to do stuff.
It's very, awesome. I think it was the right thing to do. But it's like, I don't need any opportunities, any more of those opportunities. You know what I mean? And but I miss it, and it is where I'm gifted and have experience, and I feel like it's like this tool that I have not been using, and that's a big fat drag. So I was invited to sit in with the band. They asked me if I'd just be in the band now, so that was pretty great. And what they do is once a month they have a little meeting, and then say little meeting. That sounded so like there's a short meeting of prayer and Bible study, and then it's evangelism, and they go and evangelize at Oslo Central Station in front of the Tiger, like there. The thing
we've gone with them several times. Yeah, it's been great.
And a band that runs on a battery. Yeah, everyone plugs in, and we make music for a while and draw attention and sing about Jesus, and that was really great. So I got to sit in with the band, no idea what the songs were or were going to be. We just followed the leader wherever he went, and I like that environment. Like I can hang, and that's fun for me. And like the whole night, I was just while we're doing stuff, I kept saying, I'm just trying to get invited back. Like, hey, do you know how da-da-da? Man, I'm just trying to get invited back.
That's funny.
And so that night they invited me back. They'd like me to be a part of that every month. And then there's a bigger Hope for Oslo meeting conference thing they're having in a couple of weeks. And I'm going to be in the worship band for that. So, so that's quite good. Hope to sort of reconnect. I want to connect with the music making segment of the Christian people here, because I haven't done that in a long time, and we've got all of this gear and all of this experience and all of this desire
and all these songs I've been writing.
I didn't mean that.
I know you didn't, but I meant that. Yeah.
So that was good too. So we want to round out our roster as a church. We want to connect with the Christian work more deliberately with the Christian work that's going on here, and connect with our community. And those are the ways that we're doing it. Yeah. So,
well, that's always been very possible for us, and I mean it's kind of been, I remember a long time ago, years ago at this point, one of the things we were talking about is how, very quickly the Christian community kind of like accepted us and embraced us. And so that's always been kind of a part of our ministry out here. Less so in the last few months, because we've been really focusing on, Fiatona and our own kind of things that we've got going on.
And the people in our lives graciously, they're like, we don't want you to feel like you have other responsibilities.
Yeah, and that's that too.
Yeah, they don't want to stress us, which is wonderful. But also it feels like we're losing. I don't mean losing touch. Like, it's not like we're being flushed or whatever, but we're not as cabled up as we were.
Well, I mean, we're re-engaging with something that should be a priority, and I felt that way too. That it should be a priority, and I know that you felt that way as well. And I know that the Christian community here, especially the faithful, Bible-believing, like committed Christians here, of which of who we all know. They're awesome, and I know that they want us to succeed, and we want them to succeed, and things like that. So
but we just haven't talked in a while.
Comparatively, compared to how often we used to.
We were in home church, and we were responsible for things every week, and with the broader community, and that's really engaged with the even broader community. So it's been a little bit. I would say it feels lonely, but I don't want whoever in home church hears this to sound like I'm complaining, because we're not at all. It comes, I think, from a really wonderful place of not wanting to cause us any stress or anxiety about responsibilities at the mother church. Like Benta even said, she's like, go be a church. Go be a church. Don't worry about anything else. We will handle all of it. Yeah. But also that means a lot less connection with people that we really enjoy. Right. I rode home with Espen and some of the teenagers from church from Kristiansand. That's like a 4+ hour drive. Yeah. And they fell asleep like instantly. The kids, they fell asleep. But I got to spend some time with Espen, which is I love him so much and really miss him. And we got to have a long car ride together. It was really nice. Yeah. So
it sounds like
it was a real blessing.
I've had a long car ride with Espen before. Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah. I think everybody at least once in their life.
Yes, he's so good. And Raquel, his wife, and their kid. Yeah. They're just, I love them so much.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Espen's been on the podcast, and so is Raquel.
Yes, they have. Both. Yeah, a few years ago.
Yeah, go find those episodes.
Yeah, they're great.
You can love them too.
I think we should wrap it up for today. Yeah. Unless there's anything big that we missed.
No, just we get to spin stuff back up in our house again. So we got to have family breakfast. We have Taco Friday on Friday, and we've got game nights happening again, and get to use our home again. That's nice. So so it's good.
I've said it before, and I can say it because of how involved I am or not involved. The best tacos in all of Oslo will be happening at Cameron's house.
Boy, howdy.
On Friday.
They're so good.
And it's not even close.
No.
Although there have been decent tacos somewhere else in Oslo. The best ones are going to happen in your house this Friday.
That's true. It's going to happen. So I got to go grocery shopping, and we got to make tortillas. Remember that? The next couple of days, we got to make like a gazillion tortillas.
We got to order the food for it like today.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to go do that. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to this update about what we've been doing and how we've been doing. If you could do us a favor, send us your prayers and encouragement. Maybe comment on this video and just say like, "Hi, Jacob, get better soon," or something like that. We definitely could use it. I mean, there's definitely a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And, we are trying to stay encouraged and focused as we set out and do it. So.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about how the season has changed and the days are getting real short. And so our experience is a lot of darkness. And then there's sort of the sadness and depression that creeps in with that. The seasonal changes here are tough. So I just wanted to agree with you that getting the occasional encouraging note or just like notice from someone who loves us, it really gives us energy through a difficult, next 5 months.
Yeah. Definitely, it's gonna be tough. This is our fourth winter. It's our third or fourth.
I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, something like
One
that.
Of those.
And it can be very, very challenging, and it's not fun. Especially after the first one, we were like, okay, now we know what we're in for.
Yeah,
but that doesn't really make it easier.
But we're into November. It hasn't started snowing yet.
That
should be coming any minute. And then it's going to be cold for 5 months.
Yeah. So. Oh, gosh. We're looking forward to it. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thank you for tuning in and watching this. And we'll see you again next week. God willing. We don't get sick. We hope to see you again next week. God bless.
Thank you for listening to Word First Radio. Be sure to like, subscribe, and check us out online at wordfirst.us. Yeah!